Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Kalica and you're going to be nicer to retail workers after watching this video. Your ID is bright pink? At work I keep bright pink sticky notes with me. I doodle, keep notes and honestly just fiddle with them to keep calm during our favourite problem customers' meltdowns. Today I was helping a gentleman with a purchase that required showing his ID. I had already set the ID back down in front of him on the counter. The purchase was made, yet he kept staring down at me. "I need my ID," he says, staring at my hands. In my hands were my clearly bright pink sticky notes. At first I was very confused and said, "Yes sir, it's right there," and nodded down at his ID. He didn't look down. His eyes clearly darted from my notes to my eyes. "I see you holding it," he says. Now, this customer had already been rude earlier. I was already at the level of done with you. I looked from my brightly covered paper in my hands up at him, back to my paper, back to him. "Sir, your ID is right down there if you look." "I see it in your hands," he spits, putting emphasis on the word see. He was trying to mock me, but how do you feel mocked when you know they're 100% wrong? I finally point as well, right at his ID, the one right in front of him, the one not in my hand, the one that is clearly not bright pink. "Oh, there it is," and he just grabs it and leaves. "No, I'm sorry," or "Oh, I was confused." Nothing. Someone in the comments pointed out that it was possible that this man was colorblind, which would make sense, but it still doesn't excuse him being a jerk. "I don't know how tall your window is, lady." Just a heads up, I'm Norwegian, so I can't promise the grammar and all translations are correct, but I'm trying my best. I work at this store in Norway that sells curtains, towels, pillows and stuff like that. But this happened at least an hour or so ago. I was just doing my thing, manning the cash register. By the way, we have 2 different stores in my town. They're both pretty small, so we only need 1 person on at a time, so I'm alone until I leave today. Anyway, this woman came in asking about pleated curtains. Not sure if that's what they're called in English, but I'm just gonna call it that, because that's what Google Translate says. She wanted one that went from her roof to her floor, because her windows was that tall. I'm terrible at explaining, I'm sorry. I told her we didn't have any in those measurements, and that if she wanted we could order some, but they would have to be custom made, and that was a whole process. I added that I was still pretty new, and I didn't know much about that, but the lady insisted I check the price. I just said okay, asked her to wait a moment while I called the other store for some help. After a minute I found the site I needed, and a folder so we could look at the different fabrics she could get the curtains in. When I presented the folder to her, she just told me that she wanted it white and to give her the cheapest option. It's not cheap to get them custom made, and it's not the fabric that decides the price, I think. I believe it's actually the measurements, and if she wanted it from floor to roof, it would be pretty expensive anyway. She wouldn't like the price even if it was 30% off. I told her that it was the measurements that mostly decided the price. She nodded and I asked her how wide they needed to be and how tall. I need exact measurements so I can get it right. If she had ordered them then and there and I got the measurements wrong, I would have some trouble, and I don't know if she could return them. Instead of being helpful, she pretty much expected me to know how tall her wall was. "Listen lady, I'm 20. I took media classes in school. I failed math. I half-assed all classes that involve building. I know nothing about houses other than the fact that we live in them." I told her again that I needed the exact measurements, but this time she guessed it was 2 meters. Okay. That helps a lot. Then she proceeded to tell me she didn't have the time to stand here for much longer, left me her number and walked away. I still don't know how to help her. I don't know how tall her window is, but what I do know is that I'm too tired for this. I would probably just call her, tell her to come back into the shop when she had the exact measurements, because I'm assuming if something is going to be custom made, they would at least need some sort of deposit for it. Online mistakes. I was reading a story earlier which reminded me about this experience from about 7 years ago. I used to work in the complaints team for a large, reputable department store in the UK. Being in the complaints team, I would usually only see complaints from customers whose issues could not or had not been fixed by the customer service departments. We were well respected within the organisation, as every member of that team had a lot of customer service experience and had time and authority to resolve almost any problem. Complaints sent to the managing director and other executives within the company would be sent to my team to deal with. One time, I received a call from the customer services department. A customer was on the line complaining that we'd gotten his online order wrong. The customer had ordered some kind of face cream. It was listed as 6 times 30ml pots of face cream, costing in the region of £400. I forget the exact amount. He had called a couple of days earlier to say he'd received the order and received 6 5ml pots. The call handler at that point replaced his order and wrote off the pots he initially received, meaning that the customer could keep them, free of charge. The customer had received the replacement product, but it was the same thing, 5ml pots instead of 30ml pots. The customer was furious, and the customer service rep transferred him over to me. After about 5 minutes of shouting about how incompetent our company were, these 5 minutes were the best part of any call, I would never need to pay any attention and could let my mind wander as I'd heard it all a million times. I told the customer I would make some inquiries and call him back. I contacted the buyer for this product and learned that it was incorrectly listed on the web. It was 6 5ml or 30ml total, not 6 times 30. What he received was correct, and the buyer immediately went away to correct the website. I called the customer back and explained that there is a problem on the website and we're correcting it now. However, the products he's been sent is correct, and we do not have the product he thought he ordered. I explained that he has two options: keep what he has been sent at the price he paid for, essentially a buy one get one free offer, or send it all back and receive a full refund plus £50 cash, not a gift card, as an apology for the mistake. The customer refused both of my offers, cue another longer rant and me sitting back to enjoy a further 10 minutes of not having to do anything, and he said he wants what he ordered. The customer says, "You have to honour the contract, it's the law." "No sir, we don't have that product in stock, we can't send it to you, it's been corrected on the website now, look." And sure enough, the website had been fixed already and the correct volume was shown. "If you send us the products back, I'll give you a full refund and transfer £50 into your bank account by way of apology. The postage is 100% free, or I can even send a courier to pick them up for you tomorrow morning to save you the hassle." "I can't send them back. I've given them away to friends who've already used them." "Well, in that case, feel free to keep the 6 pots sent to you originally. You're quite right. We did tell you days ago to keep them. Send us the other 6 back, which you received an hour ago, and I'll give you a full refund. Or you can keep all of them at the price you've paid, and I'll still send you £50 as an apology for the mix-up." "No, you need to send me the amount of cream I ordered." I quickly worked out that what he was asking me for was £2,400 worth of product for only £400. This was beyond the remit of even my team. I spoke to my manager and explained the situation. We both felt that the customer knew he wouldn't be getting 6 30ml pots before he placed the order, but that he was trying his luck to take advantage of the error. It was probable that he had sold them on eBay rather than giving them to friends. Even if it had been an honest mistake, which we had to assume it was, I was offering the customer to keep £400 worth of product absolutely free, and still, this wasn't good enough. After a few minutes, we decided that we would refund him the full purchase price of his order and allow him to keep everything that he had received. Was the customer content with this? Of course not. He said, "You have to send me the amount of cream I ordered." I told the customer that was his only option, processed the refund there and then, and told the customer our address to write a complaint if he wanted to take it further. He did. 2 days later, I got an email from the managing director with the letter from the customer attached. He asked me to respond to the customer on his behalf, and told me that he felt the offer I made had been fair. I gleefully wrote to the customer, enclosing a copy of the manager director's email to me, explaining that the offer he had been given was fair and reasonable and that there would be no further discussion on the matter. I never heard from the customer again after that. Okay, so this is actually really interesting to me. In the UK, we have the Consumer Rights Act, which is a legal obligation that goods received must be satisfactory and as described, they must be fit for purpose and last a reasonable length of time. Now, I mentioned there that they must be as described, so this product was advertised as 6 bottles of 30ml each. That's what the customer thought he was getting, regardless of what his intentions were, but they sent him 6 bottles of 5ml each. Opie said to the customer that it was a mistake on the website, which the buyer has now fixed, but does that make it okay? The customer still didn't receive what he thought he would. Now, I'm not a solicitor or anything, I don't know the law inside and out, but it actually sounds like the customer had a case here under the Consumer Rights Act. I've done a little bit of research, and apparently if the goods received are not as described, then the customer is entitled to a full refund as long as they contact the seller within 30 days. It doesn't say they'd have to return the product, and it doesn't say that the company would have to provide the product, but the man was actually entitled to the refund. And an apology, I think. What do you think? Am I missing something here? Okay, so that's all for r/Tales from Retail. I really hope you did enjoy it. As always, if you do want to see more content like this, then please do subscribe. My Twitter, Discord and Patreon links are in my description, and any support is greatly appreciated. And as it's Sunday, I also want to say a massive thank you to my wonderful patrons. BackwardsDDog, Tyler Miller, Jen Burton, Jens Banning, Bo Walker, Princess Kate, Skyler A, Elizabeth Filmore, Stephen Arnowitt, Anonymous, Shagar, Koltin, and a lovely warm welcome to our 2 new patrons, Bruce Reed and James Scanlan. Thank you all so much for your support. Mwah. That's for you, but keep it between us, okay? I'm also noticing that as this patron list is growing, I'm having to film Marcus for longer periods of time, so you get to see him a little bit more on a Sunday, and I think that's awesome. But thank you so much for watching. Bye!